think we're pretty close. Oh, that looks wonderful. Okay. It's Friday morning, the 10th, right? Uh, of November. Yoga flow. We need straps today, so if you're at home, grab a strap so that you will be prepared when the time comes, or a belt, or whatever you have. Otherwise, everybody start to get comfortable. Sit how is comfortable for you. Stretch your legs out if you want. Cross your legs if that feels better, and grab a blanket to sit on if that feels better for your hips. And then just close your eyes, shift around just a little bit side to side. Let yourself feel your sitting bones, kind of equalizing out into the floor there. And close your eyes. Let your gaze come down a little bit like you're looking down towards the floor without your head lowering, just letting your eyes move downward. And then bring your gaze like you're looking forward here with your eyes, even though they're closed. And then let your eyes look towards the right, just letting the eyes move, not the head. Back to center and then to the left. And then back to center, and then let your eyes again just release downward just a little bit like you're looking down on the floor in front of you. And then just relax. Let your jaw go. Let the eyes go wherever they will as you lengthen up through the crown of your head. Feel your breaths coming in to the belly, expanding the belly on your inhales. And as the breaths gradually deepen, let your awareness come to the end of your inhale, that little space, that little pause. And the same thing at the end of your exhale, so a little space, a little pause before you inhale again. And just let yourself rest in those little spaces between your breaths. And now let's start to move gently with the breath, letting your torso come into these easy circular motions. Doesn't matter which direction you go, just keep going the same direction. Letting your exhales bring you forward and your inhales bring you back. And we'll stop so that we can go off in the other direction. So just easily reverse here. Again, letting the breath be what moves you. Doesn't matter how big or small the circles are. And then we're going to finish off. So you stop where you feel comfortable so you can come upright again, releasing your hands on out beside you, fingertips lightly touching the ground. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse. Inhale the hands right up through the midline. On the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. Inhaling here at center. And on the exhale, twisting to our right, bringing our left hand around, maybe to your right knee. That depends on how you're sitting, really. Letting the right fingertips lightly touch here on the floor behind you. lengthening up through the top of your head. And on your inhale, let your back arm, your right arm, rise up overhead here. So you're finding length through that back side of the body. And on the exhale, come over a little bit into a side stretch. Let yourself breathe into the ribs here. And then we'll rise slowly on back up and lower that back arm back down. Fingertips lightly back down to the floor. You can look back behind yourself if you want. One more inhale. And on the exhale, use your belly to bring you on back around into center. Let's inhale here at center. And on the exhale, we're going to twist the other way. So bring yourself around into the other direction. Again, that back hand lightly touching the ground there with your fingertips. Lengthening up through the top of your head. Chin parallel to the floor. And on your next inhale, that back arm is going to rise on up, lengthening through that whole side of the body there. And then as you exhale, come over a little bit into a side stretch. Kind of depends on you what angle you take there. Let it feel good, reaching through the fingertips, feeling the spaces between the ribs. One more breath. And then come on back up, lower that back arm again, fingertips down to the floor. And again, if you want to look a little more behind yourself, do. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll release all the way back around into center. Lean back now onto either fingertips or your hands. Open through the chest here. Draw the chest a little forward. Let yourself open through the front body. And if you are cross-legged on the floor, we're going to come on around to switch our legs. So take your time, stretch them out if you need to before you bring your other leg in front. And then this time, flex your feet and come forward a little bit. So feel the outside edges of your feet pressing into the floor. If you need to rearrange a little bit in your crossed leg, it's fine. And so that you get where you're just the best place to be for your own hips. And then come on forward. You can go as far as you want into this seated forward bend, or you can stay up and let yourself keep that long back staying high. If it feels good to fold forward over your legs and drop your head down, go ahead. And just feel the breaths now coming in. Feel the ribs expanding as you breathe in. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly walk ourselves on back up, bringing our fingertips on out beside us on the floor. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come on down together in front of our hearts. And then release your arms, shake out a little bit. Let's stretch our right leg out beside us. Okay? And you can do what you need to with your left foot. It can come farther forward. You can grab a block if you want, put underneath your knee. Get comfortable. All we're going to do is come a little bit forward to find this inner right thigh. So flex through the right foot. Feel the right heel on the floor. And just let yourself come a little bit forward to open up into that inner thigh. It doesn't matter how far. If you need to readjust the left leg, do it so that you feel comfortable there and you're not putting undue stress on your knees or your hips. And then we'll slowly come on back up. All we're going to do is switch legs. So stretching the other leg out. And again, if you need to support this bent leg or you need the leg not to be so deeply bent, just adjust. And then come on out. And again, think about your left knee and toes facing up towards the ceiling. So you're not letting that leg rotate back, but really concentrating on the knee and the toe facing up. And just feel that inner thigh. Good. One more breath here. And then we'll slowly bring ourselves on back up. And let's bring our legs on in front of us now. Stretch your legs on out. And let your feet circle, whether you circle the same direction or opposite. Just moving through. Try to isolate. So you're not letting your legs get involved. It's really the ankles and the feet that you're moving through. Keep switching directions you're going. Good. And then shake out a little bit. We're going to come on around towards our hands and knees. And if you'd rather not be on your knees, grab a blanket. If your wrists bother you, feel free to come up on fists. And also, you can even go lower. Go onto your forearms to do that movement through the spine, the cat-cows, if that's better for you, for your wrists or hands. So take your time. Look down between your hands. As you exhale, draw up into that cat pose. And as you inhale, send your tailbone back and up and move through into your cow. And just move at your own pace here. Stop in either pose if you want to and stay. Take your time. Let it feel really good to ease your way through your back. And we'll finish off to come back to more neutral spine, sending our tailbone back, finding neutral there just by looking between your hands. And then let's send our right foot behind us on the floor, curl the toes under, press into your heel, engage your belly. And then lift that leg on up, parallel to the floor. Reach your left arm forward, see if you can find a bit of balance here. And now when you exhale, bring your left elbow and right knee towards each other underneath you. And when you inhale, stretch back into long arms here and long leg. And again, exhale, bringing yourself in here, elbow and knee towards each other. Inhale, stretch it back. And then one more time. Exhale, bringing the elbow, the knee towards each other. And inhale, bringing them back. We're going to lower the hand and the knee. We're going to switch, put our left foot back behind us on the floor. Curl the toes under, press into the heel, feel the calf, the back of the leg. Float that leg up parallel, release your right arm forward. Take a nice inhale here in the balance. And then as you exhale, bring the right elbow and left knee towards each other underneath you. And then inhale, stretch it back long. So again, exhaling, bringing knee and elbow in towards each other. Inhaling, reaching back. And then one more time, letting them come together there as close as you can. And then reaching back again. Long arm, long leg. Bringing the hand down, bringing the knee down. Let's come back towards child's pose. So bringing big toes together, knees as far apart as you want. Once you shift into child's pose, you decide you can stay somewhat forward over under your forearms. You can soften your arms overhead, or you can bring the arms back alongside your legs, turning your palms up. Put nice breaths into your low back. Let yourself release in the hips, the low back. Feel your shoulders relaxed. And then we'll stretch our arms back overhead if they're not already. We're going to come on up to all fours. And let's curl our toes under and come into a brief down dog. Let yourself reach back. Spread your fingers wide. In fact, glance at your hands. Make sure your hands are pretty equal. You don't want one hand turned out a lot more than the other. And then elbows hug towards each other, reaching back through your tailbone. Knees can be bent, remember, if it's better. And then we'll lower our knees on back down to the mat. We're going to step our left foot forward and find our first lunge. If you need to grab your blocks, do. So coming on up into that first lunge, take your time. Get the length of stance that feels really good for you, however high you want your hands to be. And enjoy reaching into that inner heel and lengthening out through the crown of your head. And we're going to switch. However you want to come to the other side, whether you like to step back or forward. Take your time. Again, get yourself situated. You might even glance at that left foot. Make sure the heel's reaching directly behind your foot. Let your shoulders draw down away from your ears. Good. We're going to switch again. take your time, press your feet away from each other. See if you can bring your left hand up to your thigh there. Now, you're not lifting up all the way up with your shoulders over your hips. You're still on that long diagonal line. Just giving yourself a little more, maybe even bringing both hands up above your knee. And then we're going to switch. So coming to that other side. Again, finding your lunge, feeling the feet on the floor, right hand drifting up, and if you want to stay with the left hand down, do, or maybe bringing the left hand up too. And then we'll bring our hands on down. We're going to step forward and come into standing forward bend. So adjust however you need. You know that. You can have your hands on blocks. You can put your elbows above your knees. Bend your knees if you'd like. Take your time. You might even want to walk a little bit in your Uttanasana, bending a knee at a time, letting yourself even out there between your legs. And then release back into center. Feel the weight of your head. Let your face soften now. Let go of your jaw. Full deep breaths. And we're going to bring our hands up to our hips, bend our knees, press into our feet, rising on up. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So finding your mountain pose, adjust if you need. Let yourself just get comfortable in how far apart you have your feet. That parallel, the outside edges of the feet being fairly parallel, bringing your gaze on forward and out. And just enjoy feeling the hips over the ankles, shoulders over the hips. Whether your eyes are opened or closed, try to let go of any tension that you might feel around your eyes, across your forehead. Imagine your forehead really smoothing out. Feeling equal between your feet. And then as we unfold our arms on down beside us, we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bend the knees, come on forward into your standing forward bend. Bring your hands to your shins, and on your next inhale, lengthen out into a nice flat back by pressing into your hands there, straightening your arms out, and finding that really flat, long back. And then we'll step our right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale, exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Spread the fingers wide. Walk if you need to. Good. Next inhale, we'll come out to plank. Now take your time here in your plank. Really find that strong plank. Engage the belly. Feel your sitting bones reaching down towards your heels. And then we'll lower down to the mat. You can put your knees down first if you choose. Elbows right by the ribs. And let's come on into a Sphinx pose, elbows under the shoulders, forearms parallel, spreading the fingers nice and wide. Really feel your hands on the floor. And you know, if this bothers your back, you can come down lower, slide your elbows down more towards your ribs if you need. But just enjoy feeling that openness through the front of the body. Good. And then we're going to release and come on down, hands by the chest. We're going to come on back into down dog, however you choose to get there. Hands and knees, full or half push up. And we'll bring the right foot forward to come into lunge from here. And then all the way back into our standing forward bend. Feet underneath us. If you're fine to hold your elbows, go ahead and lightly let the hands come to your elbows. If you know that does not feel good to you, do not do it. Use support if you need support. Easy breaths. Weight of your head helping you find more space in your spine. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips. Bend our knees, rise up, and inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, letting our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale the hands right up through the midline. On the exhale, open the arms as we fold forward into standing forward bend. Let your inhale lengthen out your spine. Exhale, left foot back into lunge. And inhale, exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Good. Spread those fingers, elbows hug towards each other. We're going to come on out to a plank. We're going to add a little side plank here. Now, you can put your left knee down if you want to do a variation, or you can do a full side plank onto your left hand, or you can let that left knee stay down and come on up here into length. You can lift the top leg up if you choose to. That's up to you. And then we'll come on back down, come into regular plank now, back to center. Take your time there. And we're going to go to the other side. So if you're doing the variation, right knee can come down, be like a kickstand with that right leg. You can come on out. You can lift the left leg up if you want to, whether you're doing a full side plank or a variation. And then we'll come on back down with the hand, come on back into our plank. Now walk a little bit in your plank, bend one knee at a time. Let yourself be easy there. Try to keep your pelvis nice and solid. Finish off, we're going to lower down. Knees first if you need, elbows right by the ribs. Then let's come into a little cobra. Lift up just a tiny bit. Let your hands float off the floor for a second and make loose fists. Just take a breath here. And then bring your hands back down to the floor. You can stay low or you can press into your hands and rise up higher in towards the cobra here as high as you want to go, or stay as low as you choose. And then we'll release and come on back down. We're going to make our way back into down dog, whether you come through half or full push-up. And then we'll bring our left foot forward to come into lunge. And all the way back into standing forward bend. Full breaths. Let your hands do what they want. Come to your elbows or wrap behind your legs. Some of you might even want to interlace your fingers and lay your hands on the back of your head. Now that's kind of like extra traction for your spine, not for everybody. And we're going to release our hands back to our hips. We'll bend our knees, press into our feet, and rise up. And inhale our arms all the way out. And exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's clasp our hands together here. Really feel your palms squeezing together here for a second. And then start to turn the palms away from your chest, pressing into your hands forward here now. Now try not to round forward. Imagine you're drawing your arm bones back into the sockets here, the shoulder sockets. And then slowly rising the arms up as high as feels good for your shoulders. Whether they come directly overhead or not is up to you. And then let's reach over to the right, coming into left side stretch here. Really pressing into the heel of that left hand. Now feel your left foot really fully in the floor. And then we'll come on back up to the top and we'll go the other way. So as you press over into that right heel of your hand, feel the right foot pressing down into the floor. And then we'll rise on back up. From here, if you can, look up, do. If it bothers your neck, don't. Release your hands. Exhale as you fold forward into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that flat back. Exhale, right foot back into lunge. Let's move with the breath. Inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog. Let your inhale bring you to plank. Let your exhale lower you down. And inhaling into your cobra of choice. Exhaling back into down dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rise up, arms flowing all the way to the top. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward again. Let your inhale help you find that long back. Exhale, left foot back into lunge. And inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let your inhale bring you to plank. And your exhale will lower you down. And inhaling into your cobra. Exhaling back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, standing forward, bend. Bend the knees, rising up, arms all the way up. And on the exhale, we're going to come forward again. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. We're going to come into down dog. Place your hands. You can walk, you can jump. Take your time, walk a little bit here. Let your elbows hug towards each other. And then come to your full dog. Now be aware of your hands on the mat. Make sure you're not rolling to the outside edges of your hands. Feel your thumbs, your pointer fingers, your ring fingers, your middle fingers. Really feel the pinkies on the ground. We're going to bring that left foot forward from here. And have your blocks handy. We're going to come up for warrior one. Bringing ourselves on up to front-facing warrior, drawing the shoulders around square. Bringing yourself into that alignment of that back foot where you feel fine. The angle of your foot opening up through the front of the right hip. And then for a second here, fold your left arm behind you like you're putting your forearm just on your low back. And then we'll inhale just the right arm up overhead. Now from here, you're going to be really strong here in the core because you're going to reach a little into a side stretch to your left. Really feel the feet on the floor. And then rise back up. It's not a big movement at all. And we're going to switch. Lower the right arm. Rise the left arm up. Fold the right arm behind you if you can. And now you're going to come into side stretch on the other side. So breathing into the left side a little bit. And then come on back to the top. Release the right arm. We're going to bring both arms out and up overhead. If you can clasp your hands together, do. Send your pointer finger up. Bend your elbows a little bit and hug them inward. And then see if you can lift up a little bit with the elbows. Totally up to you if you want to come into straighter arms. If you need to leave your arms forward, do. If you feel fine to have the arms back by your ears, do. Really feeling that lift up through the front of the body and that release down the back of your body. One more breath. And then we'll release the arms on down. Bring your hands behind you. Clasp them. We're going to fold forward, bowing over this front leg. Letting yourself, at the end, if you can, release the head down. Now you can keep your hands there on your back. You can release them off the back if that feels good for your shoulders. Letting yourself come into humble warrior where you choose to be. And then we'll release the hands down. We're going to find lunge from here. You can use the blocks or you can use the floor with your hands. Take your time. We're going to add a twist. So bringing left hand to the left hip. Drawing that left shoulder up. Hand down on your sacrum there. You can stretch that top arm up if you want. You can do twisted prayer if you'd rather. You can bring your right elbow over to that left knee. One more breath. And then we'll come on back down. We're going to straighten the front knee out. Let the right heel descend directly down towards the ground. Just open up a little more there in the backs of your legs. One more breath. And then we're going to bend the front knee enough to come on back into down dog, bringing that left foot on back. Walk a little bit to the tops of your feet. In fact, really take time to press the top of one foot at a time down into the floor, the toenails pressing down into the mat. Good. And then coming out to plank, you can decide if you want to move through chaturanga or maybe you just want to go right through the kriya into your up dog there. Up to you. You can come to plank and back to dog. Don't have to even add a back bend. You start to move the way you feel good to move. Really easing your way through where you like to be. And then we'll finish off and meet back in down dog. Good. And from here, we're going to bring the right foot forward. We're coming up for warrior one, remember. So have your blocks handy there. Get yourself arranged, shoulders square towards the front of your mat. If you need to widen your stance a little bit to be solid here, do it. And then just take your left arm behind you, fold it there. so that you have yourself just released here, right all the way across the left side of the chest, bringing the right arm all the way up overhead. Now, coming into the side stretch to the left here, breathing into the right ribs. It's not big. It's not something that's big to look at, but it feels like a big movement, actually. One more breath. And then we'll come on back up. We're going to lower that right arm down, switch arms, bring the left arm up. And then again, there's this huge lift before you come slightly off to the side. Breathing into the left side. And then we'll come back up. We're going to release the right arm on up as well as the left. And then clasp your hands. Send your pointer finger up. Bend your elbows a little bit. Feel them hugging in. Feel them lifting up a bit. Doesn't have to be big here either. And then again, you can come into straighter arms. You can look up if you choose, or keep your gaze forward. Inhaling up the front of the body. Exhaling down the back of your body. And then we'll bring the gaze back forward, release our arms on down, clasp our hands behind us. And then we're going to fold forward over that inner thigh. Again, how low you go is up to you. You can let your head hang if you're able to do that. You can bring your arms off your back if that feels good for your shoulders. And then we'll release. We're going to bring our hands down so we can find lunge, letting now that heel release directly behind your foot back there. Adding your twist of choice. Right hand to the right hip. Drawing your shoulder up, hand palm down onto your sacrum. Stretch the arm up if you want. If you'd like to come into twisted prayer, you can bring that left elbow across to your right knee. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hands on back down, and we're going to straighten that front knee out. Let our left heel descend back directly behind your foot. So not really a pyramid pose. That front right knee straightens, and the back heel just descends down. You get a little more into the backs of your legs. Good. Then we're going to bend the front knee, and we're going to step back into down dog. Once you're in dog, again, walk a little bit to the tops of your feet. And then bring your feet a little closer together. Lift your right leg up in the air behind you. Bend the knee and open the hip. You may want to look under your right arm as you feel like you're reaching that knee really back behind you on an angle. And then we're going to release, bring that foot down, and we're going to switch. Left leg comes up, knee bends. Start to let yourself open up there. And then we'll release and come on back down. On your own, you can come out for vinyasas or kriyas, or you can put your knees down and rest in child's pose. So take your time, listen to what your body needs today. And then we'll meet back in down dog. So take your time as you get back into your downward facing dog pose. And from here, we're going to bring our left foot forward. And we're coming up for warrior two. Have both your blocks handy there by the front foot. And line your heels up. Line up that front knee. Take your time as you start to float your arms up. Let your hands come a little higher than your shoulders. And then lift your shoulders up like you're shrugging. And then really let the shoulders release down, right? Almost actually soften your elbows too. Almost feel like a puppet, like somebody has strings at your wrists. So there's this really, really collapsed, easy feeling in your shoulders. And then start to reach out into those long arms, reaching out through your fingertips. Feet pressing away from each other, bringing your gaze out over that top of that left hand. And then we'll lower our right hand down. We're going to straighten our left knee out. And we're going to come forward a little bit with that left hand and then down. So you're elongating the underside of your body. For triangle pose, you can use a block. You can use your leg. Draw your right shoulder up. If you're ready to add that top arm, go ahead and add your top arm up, letting it come straight up from your shoulder at first, palm facing outward. Feel those thighs engaging up towards the hips. Now see if you can let your right arm come down more towards your head. So a little more side stretch. Palm faces down towards the ground. Good. And then rise the arm on back up. Take your time there. One more breath. And then we'll bend that left knee. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two, pressing the feet away from each other as we come. Nice. We're going to straighten the left knee out, turn our feet more parallel. You can adjust how wide you want your stance to be. Come on forward. Grab your blocks if you'd rather. Let yourself ease your way, bending one knee at a time. So feet are fairly parallel here, as much as feels okay for you. And then come on back into center. And if you prefer to stack your blocks up, get out of your hands, and either release your forearms or your head to your blocks, do. If you feel better to let your head release, crown of the head towards the floor, and just bring your hands back between your feet, then go for that one. So let yourself find where you're the most comfortable. Elbows can rest above knees too to help give your back support if you'd rather be there. And just accept now. Remember those little spaces between the breaths. See if you can take time to find those. And again, let yourself imagine you're releasing, relaxing in those little spaces between your breaths. Good. One more breath here. And we're going to let ourselves walk on back up with our hands straight out in front of us. Find a nice flat back. And then we're going to walk back over to our left foot, coming on back into lunge and back into downward facing dog pose. From here, bring your knees down. Let yourself shift back towards pose of a child. Keep your hands, though, overhead, arms long, and hug your elbows towards each other here in your child's pose. So feel a little bit of action there up into your shoulders, but it's that release between the shoulder blades. Breathe into your low back. And then coming on back to all fours and making our way back to down dog. You can decide if you want to do anything else or just stay in your dog before we do the other side. You know, you can come through for vinyasas or kriyas if you'd rather. And then we'll meet back in down dog. Spread your fingers wide, elbows hug towards each other. Right foot is going to come forward, and we're coming on up for that Warrior Two. So remember, you're headed to triangle. If you like that block, let it be there handy for you so you have it. Bend that front knee. Start to rise your arms up and shake your hands out a little bit. Open and close your hands. Find again that feeling like you're being held up at your wrists by strings. So your elbows are really melted down. Feels really easy. And then when you're ready to reach out through the fingertips, try to keep that softness as you turn to look out over the top of your right hand. Try to keep that soft feeling in the tops of your shoulders. Feeling the feet equal in the floor. Left hand's going to come to your left hip. We're going to straighten the right knee out. So reach a little forward. So as you do, you just imagine elongating the right side of the body and then bringing your hand down, either a block in front of or behind that right leg or onto your leg itself. Totally up to you. Rising that left shoulder up, adding the left arm straight up if you can. If your shoulder bothers you, don't even do that. Feel your thighs lifting upward. Feel that length out through the top of your head. Now lower that left arm down towards your head so you come a little more into that side stretch at your side waist. Palm faces down as the arm comes down towards your head. Bring the arm back up, straight up from your shoulder again. And then we'll bend that front knee. We're going to press into the feet, rising on up into our warrior two. And we're going to bring our hands behind us as we turn our feet. And again, adjust your stance, pretty parallel with your feet. Clasp your hands behind you and start to come forward. Now, this is different for everybody. You might want to stay up higher than parallel to the floor. You might want to get like a tabletop flat back parallel to the floor, or you might want to fold over to let the top of the head release down. And if your arms want to come away from your back at all, let them. If they don't, don't. Just pay attention to your shoulders. And then release your hands down. Let's walk the hands out just a little bit so we can walk over to our right. Coming over towards your right foot, doesn't matter how far you go. Bring your right hand on up to your right hip, maybe even roll that right shoulder up a little bit. And then we'll come on down. We're going to walk back through center, and we're going to go the other side. So walking towards the left, it doesn't matter how far you go. Bringing your left hand on up. And then if you want to roll up and look up towards the ceiling, do. And then we'll come on back down. Find your place to be with your breath, whether you want to hold your ankles or turn your fingertips backward, walk your hands way back behind you, or supporting elbows above knees or using a block. And then again, receive your breaths. So really, if you feel discomfort in the body, adjust where you don't as much as possible so you can literally very easily be with your breaths. One more full, deep breath. Really feel the fullness of your inhale and your exhale. And as we bring our hands on back out, we're going to walk back to our right foot, come on back into lunge, and into that down dog. Final vinyasas or kriyas if you want to do any. It's fine to put your knees down. It's fine to stay in dog. Or maybe you feel like you want to come a little bit in towards kriyas. Anything at all. Listen to your body. Let yourself do what feels really right for you today. Good. We'll meet back in down dog. We're going to bend our knees really deeply in down dog. Think about your belly coming onto your thighs. Hug your elbows towards each other. Glance up between your hands. Decide if you want to jump or walk your way up there. And then come on forward, letting the feet come underneath the hips. Letting yourself come into standing forward bend. Easy breaths. And then from here, we'll press equally into our feet, bend our knees, rise on up to standing. And we'll inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down in front of our hearts. Find your mountain pose here. Spread your fingers nice and wide. If you need to adjust around a little bit, sway a little bit, do. Letting your gaze come on forward and out like you're looking at the horizon. Feeling that sense of almost like you're a part of the space around you, that you're being supported by the space all around you. And then we'll go ahead and let our arms come on down. Shake out a little bit, move around, however you need to. Walk if you need. We're going to bring our mats to a wall. So if you're at home and you do have a wall, you can bring your mat too. Bringing the short edge of the mat into the wall would be great. If not, you can do all of what we're going to do without a wall if you don't have wall space. Seems like a lot of us have stuff on walls at our house, so Makes it hard to find an empty one. So grab your blocks. We're going to bring our blocks down and use blocks for our hands to practice a little half moon with our back foot at the wall. So again, if you don't have a wall, you can do this without. But bring your hands down to your blocks. Lift your right foot up to the wall. Now, if you can, let yourself get the foot on the wall where you feel that left post leg right underneath you. So you don't want the leg too forward and you don't want it too back, right? It's got to be right underneath you. Look at your right toes facing down for a second on the wall. And then start to rotate to have the toes come away from the floor, like on this really kind of a diagonal line. You're not trying to get your right foot parallel to the ceiling, right? It's turned down toes a little bit. Shift your weight to your left block more. See if you can come to your fingertips on your right hand. And then decide if you want to bring your right hand up all the way to your hip, pressing into that right foot on the wall back there. You've got your left hand directly under your shoulder. You've got support there. You can turn to look to your right. You can stretch your right arm up if you choose. So take your time, especially if you haven't done a lot of yoga lately. Let the wall help you if you can. Pressing into the wall with that foot. And then we're going to release to come on back down if our hand was up. We're going to put the right foot right underneath us and right away put our left foot on the wall. At first, turn the toes down and look at the foot. So when you see the foot, you know it's not too high, right? You need to be able to see your foot back there on the wall. And then rotate the toes up away from the floor a little bit, which really makes you want to shift to your right hand, your left fingertips on the block, and that's fine. You don't have to lift your left hand up. If you want, you can. Doing this balanced without the wall is even a different experience. So you do your half moon how you can, keeping hands down, using the wall or not for your foot. Good. And then we're going to release and come on back down with our hand. Bring your feet underneath you. Squat however you want. You can put your elbows above your knees, or you can come all the way down if you choose. You know, if you're a squatter where your heels stay down naturally, that's fine. If you know your heels need to come up, that's fine too. Let your hips and your low back release there. And breathe. Good. So we are going to make our way. We're already pretty much down. So let's come all the way back to the wall with our feet and come into child's pose. So you come on back. If you have a wall at home, just let the tips of your toes touch. Come on into your pose of a child. And shift around a little bit. Let yourself just ease your way. Let your arms be soft overhead. And then let your arms stretch long overhead here. Spread your fingers wide. And on your next inhale, come up to all fours. Look at your hands. Make sure they're even. Curl your toes under and see if you can come into down dog here. With the heels up the wall if you have a wall there. Elbows hug towards each other. Now, up to you if you want to lift a leg up the wall. You can send one foot up the wall. Engage your belly. Hug your elbows towards each other. And then you can switch. Switching legs if you're doing the one leg up the wall. Engage your belly here. Feel your elbows hugging towards each other. And then you can come on down, resting how you need. So you can rest in child's pose. You can sit up if you need. And if you do want to practice a little more of an inversion, you can do that again, walking both feet up the wall. You can switch to your forearms. If you want to get out of your hands, get out of your hands. If your wrists are telling you that you'd rather be better off to be on your forearms, you can come onto your forearms. And you don't have to do any of that. You can rest however you need. Come down, rest how you want, sitting up or in child's pose for another couple of breaths. Good. And now we're going to come down to our bellies. Let your feet, if you have a wall, come back to be all the way to where when your legs are long, the balls of your feet are touching the wall, the baseboard, here in the studio at least. So take your time. We're going to bring ourselves elbows under our shoulders. We're going to lift up into a little forearm plank. Clasp your hands, send your pinky finger out, and press your heels into the wall. Let yourself enjoy feeling the feet in the wall. Feel the heels, almost like they're pulling away from each other. Your inner thighs are drawing upward. Good, and then we'll come on down. We're going to release forward more now so that you can point your feet and you're not touching the wall. And then bring yourself on down with your forehead. Bend both your knees and let your your lower legs come from one side to another. And then come back to center, long legs. We're going to release the arms down alongside us. And we're going to inhale both arms and legs and chest up off the floor into a locust pose. So let yourself reach back through your fingertips and your toes. Remember, you don't want to lift your chin up and shorten the back of your neck. So let yourself just look a little forward, maybe towards the front of your mat. And then we'll release and come down and just take a couple of breaths into your low back. And then one more time, inhale, floating everything up. Now, some of you may decide you'd rather come back and reach back for your feet. Press into the feet, into the hands, and come into bow pose. So that's up to you. So stay where you want, arms and legs long. If you feel like you want to get your feet, you can press, come up into a little bow pose. Good. And then we're going to come down. We're going to right away roll onto our back. So take your time. Bring yourself onto your back. Bring your feet to the floor. Kind of shift around to get your spine straightened out. And then bring your knees on into your chest. Let your knees come a little side to side and let them separate a little bit. So you're letting yourself just easily release in your hips and your low back. Good. And then send the feet up for a little happy baby. Letting the knees slide off towards the outside edges of the ribs here. You can reach up for your feet if you want. Good. And then come on back down with the feet. And let's set up for a little bridge pose here. So get your feet a little wider than they are for mountain pose, but still parallel. Now, how close you bring your heels in is totally up to you for your bridge pose. Bringing your arms down alongside you. Take your time. You can bend your elbows or keep your arms straight. Pressing into the backs of the arms, rising on up into your bridge when you're ready. Feel the back of the head gently coming into the floor, not harshly. But you have a lot of length in the back of your neck, your throat. You know you can come down anytime you want and reposition. You can grab a block or blocks. So if you prefer to come into a supported bridge, you can go any height you want with that one block, middle, lowest, or even highest, although 2 blocks stacked is usually a little more solid than that high height of 1 block. So just be mindful. If you feel more like you want to release to that block, do it. If you want to come down and push up into a full upward-facing bow pose, by all means do that. So just be mindful. Take your time. Remember, in bridge pose, you're going to feel your quads. You do not want to feel any kind of pain in your back or discomfort. So it is this sense of reaching back body down towards your knees. Quads are engaging, inner thighs are dropping downward. Good. Nice. One more breath there. And then when you're ready to come down, ease your way on down. Let your knees come into your chest gently. So letting the back release there. And again, you can go side to side. You can let yourself just release. Some of you might even want to curl up into a little ball, bringing your head on up and really curling in for a breath or two. And then when you get ready, you're going to bring your feet down and get your strap. So, if you're at the wall still at home, and you all in here are, before you put the strap on your right foot, stretch your left leg down long so your left foot is touching the wall. So you know you're the distance away from the wall where you can be like you're standing on the wall with your left foot. Heel all the way to the floor. Good. And then go ahead, bend your left knee again so you can put the strap on your right foot. So bringing the strap up. Now, if you know you have a tendency to roll to the inside or the outside of that foot, sometimes making that X by your foot, switching hands with the strap ends and switching to make that X by your foot can help stabilize, okay? And then you can extend that left leg down long, and now if you've got the wall there, press into the wall with your left foot. Bend your right knee quite a bit for a second. And remember, that leg can be as far away from you as you need, that right leg. And then come into a straighter leg, pressing into the strap with the ball of your foot equally. So look and make sure you're not, again, rolling to the inside or the outside of that right foot. And then again, press into the wall there, and you're not trying to pull the leg in towards you. Try to allow the weight of your arms to help the back of the right leg to open up. So you don't want a pulling sensation at your sitting bone. It's not about how far you're coming with the leg. And then just breathe. Let yourself be with your breath there. Giving your leg time, letting yourself just ease into your breath. And then let's bring both ends of the strap into our right hand now. We're going to open the leg out to the right. Keep pressing that left foot into the wall. And rotate that right heel up a little bit as you come over to that right side, coming into your inner thigh, coming into outward hip rotation. Going as far as feels good for you, staying grounded in that left side. So make sure that left side is not popping up, right? Good. And then we'll bring the leg on back up to the top. Switch hands. Left hand comes over to get the straps. Right arm out beside you. Bring the leg over. Now, that foot on the wall, go ahead and let it turn out as you come deeper into a twist. Don't try to keep the left toes facing up. Go ahead and let the leg do what it wants. Let yourself release as far as you want into a twist. Maybe even rolling your head to look to the right. So you add the upper back, the neck. And just be there with your breath again. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to come on back up with that leg up to the top. And we're going to switch legs. So letting your left foot come on up into the strap and bringing your right leg down. Take your time. You can make that X. Switch your hands on the strap if you like that. Once you get ready to extend your right leg down long, try to get it on the wall. And again, you may have kind of switched how far away you are from the wall, so you might have to adjust. Pressing into that right foot, bend your left knee quite a bit. Let yourself release there in the hip. And then once you come to straighten that left leg out as best you can. It doesn't have to be all the way straight. If there's a slight bend in the knee, it doesn't matter. You're still going to open the back of your leg up. So feel the weight of your arms. Again, not that pulling sensation at your sitting bone, but just the idea of the weight of the arms helping you find a little more in the back of your leg. And then breathe. Let your shoulders relax. Let go of your face. And if you're finding like you're tensing up your jaw, your throat, see if you can let that go. And then we'll take both ends of the strap in our left hand. We're going to open the leg to the left and stay grounded in that right side. It's not important how far you go. Rotating that left heel up a little bit, finding that outward hip rotation. Press into the strap with the ball of your foot. And if you have the wall at your right foot, press into the wall too. Good. We're going to come on back up to the top with the legs. Switch hands again now, so the right hand comes across. Left arm stretches out beside you. Start to bring the leg over. Again, let that right foot do what it needs. Toes can descend down. The outside of the foot might want to come down towards the ground. You can turn to look to your left. Let the head roll again. Let yourself release wherever you can be. One more breath. And now come on back up to the top. We're going to bring both feet now up into that strap. And then let your knees bend a little bit. You can let the legs come as far away from you as you need. Let your back go there. And then take your time to start to widen the feet out into a wide angle. Now you've got your strap here. You've got full control, right? You can go as wide as you want. Wider than your shoulders a little bit, or wider and wider and wider, so that you have the control by holding the straps. And feel that sense now of reaching your tailbone down a little more towards the ground, so you recreate that natural curve in your low back. And you can always pull a little bit with your hands, like you're drawing the strap towards your body as you send your tailbone down. That makes it even more intense in the inner thighs, the outer hips. Nice. And one more breath here. And then let the legs come on back up. Take your straps off however you can. Make sure you do not bang your head with the metal end of it. And then bring your knees on in. Roll around a little bit. And take your time. Do whatever your body really wants you to do right now. And that could be anything, because we're all so different, you know. You may decide you need to do another pose. You may want to do another movement of some kind. It doesn't have to be a yoga pose. Let the body kind of naturally take over. Be mindful of just letting yourself listen to your body instead of trying to tell your body what to do with your brain, right? Different story. And you know, as we start to get ready for really the best part of class, for our Shavasana, you might want to turn around. If you all know that you have a certain way you like to be, by all means, feel free to do that. But also, oh, thank you. Thanks, Marna. Also, you might decide you want to use the wall to put your legs up the wall, or you might want to have a bolster for underneath your knees, which I can bring if you're here in the studio. Obviously, if you're at home, you can use blankets. You can use pillows like under your knees. If you feel like your chin rises up when you're lying on your back, you may decide that you'd really like to just put a little bit of support underneath the back of your head to let the back of your throat be long. So be mindful. Take your time. Just appreciate your breaths now as you start to settle in. If you need to wiggle a little bit into Shavasana, do. And then just be with your breaths now. Just let yourself accept your breaths coming in and going out. Whatever helps you to keep returning your awareness to your breath. And that could be anything, counting your breaths, thinking a word or a mantra as you inhale, a different one when you exhale. But just enjoy feeling that physical support of the ground underneath you, allowing you to be able to release more fully. And give yourself these few minutes, giving your body and your brain time to benefit from all you just did. And just allow yourself to completely and fully relax. gradually now. Easily bring your awareness back to feeling the ground underneath you, supporting you again. Letting your breaths gradually deepen and lengthen. And allowing those deeper breaths to bring you back into wanting to move. Fingers and toes leading you when you're ready. Hands and feet. You might even want to circle through your wrists, your ankles as you come into arms and legs, moving however you need, stretching or bending. Might even want to let your head roll from side to side if that feels good. Really take your time. You can roll to either side if you're comfortable to do that, coming into a soft fetal position if that helps you to just adjust a little bit easier. You can stay on your back if that's better. Just take your time so that when you do feel ready to rise up to sitting, it feels really like the next natural thing that you want to do to come up again. I know that's not always easy, but letting yourself sit however is comfortable and then letting your head come to be up there on top again. Imagine your head is just floating up there on top of your spine. Let your shoulders soften down. Once you're seated comfortably, feel good in your hips. Close your eyes and come back to watching your breath. And on your next exhale, bring your hands gently to meet there in front of your chest. Let your chin come down a little bit. Release your head forward. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Tuesday.